Good day. Well, we'll start off with some updates from some other things going on around that has evaded my attention because I've been looking. Oh, or waiting to be looked up. Ooh, no, no, waiting to look up. Um, there is a very impressive volcano in Indonesia uh, exploding just the past couple of days. And some of the footage on of it on YouTube is impressive, fascinating, and oh my dear lord! I'll see if I can put a couple of freeze frames up over here. Um, Again, the photoplastic flow. Anyhow, I mean this thing is just coming down. I mean it's huge plumes and massive amount of dirt and everything, going down the hillside and or mountainsides, and some of it even has like lightning going off, and that happens from all the static electricity and everything from massive amount of stuff and all the energy in it. Again, there's wonderful videos on YouTube. Probably find them on the news, but it's a volcano in Indonesia, and I don't remember the name of the volcano. I didn't write it down. I was just shut, shut. Um, in Northern California, around the and Oregon, the Mount Rainier area. Um, Geologists and whatnot are saying some of the earthquake activity up there is ice quakes, not earthquakes. Ice quakes is a new term to me. I've never heard of it, but instead of it being earth shaking and stuff from down below, it's actually the ice up on like I'm probably not glacier level, but probably is a glacier level. But it's ice moving or adjusting or whatever, and that will shake the ground, and that's what people are experiencing. So it's not earthquakes. Um, Anyhow, both the volcano in Indonesia that's really going. They're not too concerned about that one because it seems to do it on a rather regular basis. So best to do this rather than sit and hold up and do something even nastier. Okay, uh, and ice quakes up north. No biggie there, according to again some geologists. I've looked it up. That's what to do. Verify. There's also there's a volcano, small one, but hey, again we're talking geographically speaking. Off the coast, I think it's off the coast of Washington State, and that one, like I said, it's underwater, and they've got all these meters around it. I almost said meteors. Comet. Um, Meters around it, and a lot of people, and electronic sensors going up, and they still have scuba divers going out and checking on it. But it tends to go and then come back down again. Then it goes a little higher, and then it comes back down again, and now it's even higher, and it's at a higher point than it was last time when it burped. Big old pop up coming through your soup. The ones that splatter, your spaghetti sauce everywhere. So they have a big eye on that because it's teasing them and getting a little higher and then coming back down. Because instead of coming back down, I guess it's like flowing back in on itself, which then it pushes back up again. I'm not a volcanologist, so I'm purely speculating on the reasons for it or anything. But that may be in the news soon when it burps, or it may not burp. But it's looking like it wants to burp. Still have activity with the volcano in Italy, and it's still shaking and letting people know it's there. But luckily nothing going boom there. Also on earthquakes, I live in California in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we have been having the swarm continues here in the Bay Area. Lots of them are like down in San Ramon area, and there's been a few further up, and then a little further. And I mean, we get earthquakes, yes, and we usually get little swarms. But these are a little bit bigger swarms, and it's still continuing. I mean, then it kind of like go quiet for a week, and then it comes back and starts shaking again. Where I'm at, I felt a shake this morning. It was kind of like, immediately, earthquake. I got all those things on my phone, so it goes off on every speaker in my place. But anyhow, their concern in the Bay Area, and our concern in the Bay Area, is like their activity down here and activity up here in the Bay Area, and then there's more activity just a little bit further up on the other side of the bay. So it's kind of in an arc or kind of in a line, and that's kind of following either a single fault line or two going up and another one coming over. But they're if it's one or two close to each other, one up top and two down here, and there seems to be like quake activity down at the bottom, in the middle, and towards the top, and that has people concerned. Geologists in looking at California about that and are going, I mean, it's been a while. I mean, we did have the big quake in '89. That was fun. I went to the World Series for that one. Giants versus the A's. Giants got slaughtered. Yeah, I'm a Giants fan. Anyhow, let's move on to our topic. 3i-Atlas. Or, that's what NASA gave us. So, was I a little hard on NASA last night with my my review? Probably. Granted, I was up for hours trying to get everything to work right, and hopefully this mic is working better. I'll find out when I play this back. So, I mean, I had a lot of, I kind of had a little excitement and built things up. So, maybe I was a little harsh on. Maybe not. But I mean, kind of grumpy. We do have, okay. And we have amateur astronomers producing imaging that's pretty impressive too, but, still, that's kind of, come on. Expected more. But, now to defend that, people are saying, well, with Hubble and Keck, how come, we get images from, planets far away or nebulas way out there or galaxies way out there? Well, the reason for that is, our satellites that are taking, like the Hubble, which is like, I think almost 30 years old now. I mean, I remember when, never mind. I remember when we landed on the moon. Okay, guys? Anyhow. Yeah, I was born 3 years after Kennedy and 3 years before we went to the moon, so you can do the math. Kennedy being assassinated, that is. For some of you out there, Kennedy was a very, very much admired president. But anyways, back to the fuzzy pictures. When Hubble and the Keck, and the Keck is the James Webb, Keck is down here, James Webb is up there. When they're taking those pictures of, the galaxies and the beautiful nebulas out there. I mean, everything is some really good, cool pictures of space nebulas. I mean, they're like, Horsehead Nebula, and a lot of them are like absolutely, unbelievable how deep in the colors and everything. And that's, some of those, like the Horsehead Nebula, where, it's like a baby factory for planets and stuff. So all kinds of stuff come growing out of there. But, gee, I know. Attention deficit disorder much, Scott? Anyhow, those are going around. Okay, whoops. Well, okay. This is my new sun, but right now it's going to be our Earth. We're having a yellow day. Those are going around our planet, and they are looking very far out to things that aren't really moving that fast, relatively speaking. I mean, they're kind of like inching across the sky, and we're going around and around, but they, these things are, well, they're just not going around. The satellites are going around, and they know when to look up, and they can, pivot on a slow one to get the image up, and then they come around again, and they'll pivot and get the image again, and they'll come around and pivot. So they're overlaying time photographs or images, and they're taking it at, again, something that's moving relatively slow across the sky. 3i-Atlas is shooting through. Sound effects and everything here, folks. So this is a fastball. And Hubble and stuff are not designed to track and speed, give you the, how many miles per hour a fastball just went by. Forget it. I mean, it'll be going. They're more designed for, bowling ball. Trying to think of something moving very slow than be, a turtle. There we go. They're more designed for, getting wonderfully clean images of turtles and, catching a fastball going past them. So that's, that's some defense for NASA. That, even though they did try to, get some of these telescopes, satellite telescopes, even the one around Mars, and with that one wasn't very good either. I'll post some pictures up here as I'm rambling. When they did that one, that was before it went behind the sun. But Mars was like way over there, and this was going on way over here. Anyhow, it was a long shot to even get it before it went behind the sun. So, because that's where Mars was in its orbit, so like Mars was out over here, Earth was like over here, the sun was here, and way over here is 3i-Atlas. So then it goes behind the sun and takes off in that direction, and Mars is like back over that way again. So again, it was a long shot trying to catch something, and even then they some guy has to sit there, or lots of people have to sit there and reprogram these things in their orbits. And again, calculating orbitary things is, don't even look at the mathematics of it. Your brain goes boom. It takes a lot of calculations for an object spinning around something to then be able to turn and try to change what it's been programmed to do, get reprogrammed to look somewhere else to try to catch something going by real quick. So, there's some my kudos to the programmers who can able to send a signal up to an orbiting, not our, the one around Mars, and tell it to, keep an eye on Mars. Don't lose track of Mars. Don't lose track of the moons coming around you. And by the way, stop looking at what we told you to look at and, look over here. Rambling. But, again, I'm kind of defending NASA. I probably was a little mean on it last night, but again, I already covered that. Yeah. I think that covers it. Again, I'll put some, pictures up in here, or I might, at the end of this, just do have a little slideshow of things. That's it for today, unless something else goes on. Oh, yeah, there did something else going on. Yes. That's why I had this here. I forgot why I had my sun out and why the sun was out. We had another big flare out from the moon, from the sun, very large one, not coming towards us. I mean, again, we orbit, and this can do, anywhere, and it's going out in another direction. In fact, it's going out in two directions at the same time, and both of them very large, and that is very, very rare. Because usually you get, activity popping out in one spot. Or it'll pop out one spot as it rotates and then pop out one, almost like, this like a trigger spot. This one went off, boom, in both directions, and both very large. That we haven't seen very often. So, the sun is being pretty active. It's got things to say lately. But, again, it sent two huge plumes of energy, a plume of energy, a new way of measuring it, I guess. How many plumes was that? 412? Okay. But anyhow, two plumes going out in two different directions. Like north and south both popped, or east and west both popped, and that's very rare. Again, it's not coming towards us. It's missing us. We're not going to have any more aurora borealis. But of course, one of the plumes going out in that direction is heading in. We're going to go out there and get 3i-Atlas a little more boost and a little more cooking. So that'll be interesting. So we'll see what happens to it as it gets closer to Jupiter. And I don't think we have anything around Jupiter anymore. I think we had some satellite that was supposed to watch Jupiter, and I know we deferred one of them to catch a comet or a debris several years ago. And there might still be one left, but I think it just recently spun into Jupiter's atmosphere and didn't hit the ground because Jupiter, we don't have the core of Jupiter's. Who knows where it is down in there? But it's right now that it's a huge ball of gas. Something that almost became the sun. Yeah, that's about the worst thing about 2012. Two suns. And the last sentence in the movie was beautiful. It's like an astronomer's nightmare, and that's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching the movie. I read the book first and then saw the movie, and that's one of the few occasions where the movie was actually better than the book. But anyhow, yeah, that was one of my thoughts about. Okay, two suns. We never have any darkness anymore. There's a lot of people going to lose their jobs. But anyways. Ramble on much. I will call it here. See how my mic is working. Yeah, why do I always... Anyways, you're used to my voice now. I will call it. And, 16, 17 minutes. Wow. I really got to cut my rambling down. Anyways, be kind to each other out there. Be nice to each other out there. Not easy out there, I know. Trust me, I'm not going to give you some of my personal some of the things in my personal life of late. So, but I can trust me, I know it's rough out there. May your God go with you, and Sabos. I think I will push the button, Frank.